Hello, and welcome to another scene for the Living World of Darkness, Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition. Today's scene takes place in the dreams of Misha. And the dream starts. You're about 4 or 5 years old. The warm sea air fills your nostrils as you run your toes through the wet sand, looking at the waves crashing across the sea line. Your aunts brought you to the beach today, but it's different than you remember. This isn't... No, things are different. It's not just your Aunt Azumi who's there with her kids. Your mom is actually lounging in a chair beside you as you play in the sand and splashing in the waves on a surfboard is your father. Much younger than you remember him, than you've ever seen him. And as he kicks out his surfboard to catch a few waves, he smiles at you and waves at you. And as he's brought back to shore, he just runs up to you, picks you up, and twirls you around. And he's smiling at you. And he whispers a nickname that he's been calling you that you don't really understand. But he calls you Misha. But it's only for your ears. When you're around your mother, he calls you Alice, because that is your name. You're very close to your father. You have so much in common, specifically your love of the beach. You start kindergarten, and while there are those things that other kids talk about doing with their parents, oh, mom took me to this, mom took me to that, all of your stories are, Daddy took me to the beach. We found seashells. He made me this necklace. And for once, you're struck with this feeling that this is what a happy childhood is. This is what it's supposed to be. You're 6-year-old little Misha, and just as the school year's wrapping up, you're happy. You're content. It's the last day of school. And you find yourself outside of the door of your apartment. And you hear some bickering going on the other side. Misha, what do you do?
As probably most kids would do, try to listen. Put my ear up to the door and see what I can hear.
You hear your mother and father arguing, and it's mostly your mother speaking. You just don't understand me. You don't pay enough attention to me. You're always with her. I know she's our daughter, but you're always with her. When are we going to have some us time? Just the two of us. And he responds, she's just a kid. She's my kid. I want to spend time with her. She's growing up so fast. I want to remember all of these moments. And she says, if you don't start making some time for me, I'm going to find somebody who will. He just, honey, don't do that. Don't do that. I'll try and make some time for just the two of us. She says, see that you do. And then you hear her storm away from the living room that the front door opens into.
Yeah. Probably stunned and guilty. Because it's obviously my fault that they're fighting.
Your father realizes that you should be coming home soon and opens the door where you're standing. And he takes a knee and looks you in the eye. Says, Misha, how come you didn't come in?
Shouldn't be there.
Oh, you should always be with me, he says, and he picks you up and twirls you around and gives you a kiss on the forehead. She's just a little upset. She'll get over it. But there's something you seem to notice about your father. A man who usually has just a very bright smile and a twinkle to his eye. The twinkle just a hair seems dimmer. And if you hadn't noticed that twinkle in his eye every day of your life, you wouldn't have noticed it either. That argument with your mother, it hit him hard. A few years later, the arguments haven't quite stopped between your parents, even though your father is trying his hardest to balance his time between the woman he loves and the life he loves. He's spending less and less time at the beach. You're still the apple of his eye, but that eye rarely twinkles anymore. And even though he's spending more and more time with your mother, it just isn't good enough for her. Every day you come home, you spend at least 20 minutes sitting almost unfazed outside of the door waiting for them to finish their argument of the day by this point. It's just another argument. Mom's not actually going to go anywhere. Dad's not going anywhere, but you don't want to be in there for it. You never have.
Probably would start running away. Just to not be there when they're doing that. Not running away forever, but go
Spending
someplace
time other
happier.
places. Yeah. Perhaps you've found a couple of friends who, you can spend a couple of hours with after school. After all, you're getting older. And there are days after you've come home where you get tired of waiting for them to stop arguing, and you're tired and you just want to go to sleep. That you'll come in ignoring them, well, ignoring her. She's the one who's coming at him. There are nights she leaves early. She doesn't say where she's going, but when she comes home, she's acting weird. A little shaky, a little too energetic. She started wearing long sleeves even in the summer. She rubs her nose a lot. The beauty that existed in the woman who sat beside you in a beach chair, sunning herself, has started to fade. Quite quickly, actually. One time you decided to ask her where she's going, and the only response was somewhere to make myself happy. Because somebody can't do it, she says as she glanced at your father. A father who's being broken down just day by day. You're about 17, 18 years old. Your father takes you to the beach. It's been so long since you've been to the beach. And as the water crashes against the shoreline, you start noticing that sparkle in his eye again. He's wearing, he's carrying a package with him. It's not overly large or overly fancy. But as you walk along the shore of the beach, he pauses and looks at the sun setting across the water. And he hands it to you.
It's my dad. Why would I refuse?
Inside the box is a swimsuit. It's a little tattered and probably been around the block a few times, but there's something about it. Something about it that's special. Just like your father's special.
Yeah, like, look at this. It's a really weird thing to give a teenage girl. She looks at it, looks at him, looks back down at it.
He goes, Misha. A nickname he hasn't been using very much lately. I'm getting older. And I think it's time for you to have this. Carry on the family tradition. Take care of it, honey.
Bathing suit? She looks really confused.
And he smiles. I was a little confused when I was given this suit. But put it on.
She's probably already wearing one. I mean, it's the beach, so
yeah,
you pull it over top.
Yeah. And as you do, the world shifts. There's something alluring about the sea. You've always liked the ocean, but it's almost as though you can actually hear a voice and it's calling your name, not Alice. It's calling Misha. It's calling you to its waves, and you know that as soon as that cool water hits your skin, you're not going to want to get out for anything. And you look at your father. There's no mane to him, having given away his skin to his daughter, but you know he can see you. As you look down at your hands, which have webbing between them, and the water that pours down your skin. And he gives you a smile, almost as bright as the ones from your childhood, and he tells you what you are. He tells you what this means. And he tells you a story of how he almost left, but something changed his mind at the last second. And he tells you the sea is always going to call to you. Because you belong to it. Several days after this, your father and your mother get into another argument. She's acting strange again. Whatever it is she's doing to have fun, it's making her more on edge than usual. She starts shoving him.
That's enough. If I'm there, am I there?
You are. You're like standing in the hallway. But he looks to you just like, Misha, go to your room, please. And he's trying to calm down your mother, who picks up a skillet in her anger. Because you've made me like this. You made me like this.
Call the cops. Sorry, if I can.
No, you don't have a cell phone at this point. There's all the things that tell you should logically do. You're a smart girl. You know, call the cops. But for some reason, you can't remember where your phone is, even as you're trying to scramble, because you know something needs to be done. But it's not fast enough. She grabs this cast iron thing. Iron. It makes you feel uncomfortable just thinking about it even now. But even that, he's different. But it connects with him. Your father, older now, he falls. That crack to the head. Takes a few more breaths.
Bolt up to him.
And he looks at you, and his mouth forms the word Misha before he closes his eyes. But your mother is still in this terrible fit, and she grabs at you.
Kick her.
She's strong. I've seen her. She grabs a hold, realizes you're wearing a swimsuit under your t-shirt. She starts accusing you of being just like him. Always the beach, always the sea, always anything else but her. She has feelings too, damn it, as she starts to pull at this suit.
No. Sorry. I mean, it's a dream. Obviously, you'll tell me when I can do things.
I will tell you. You can struggle, but she has the strength. And she tugs, and you hear threads starting to give way under it as she tugs with this inhuman strength and anger. You're just like him. You're just like him. And you feel the skin begin to tear. This thing that makes you special. This thing that connects you to your father. Your father who loved you. You know it shouldn't be so fragile, but it tears. And it breaks your heart. As your mother stands over you, holding the tatters of what was your sealskin. She throws it to the ground. Says, well, maybe now you can be just like me. And that's where the dream ends. You wake up. Your skin is still intact. But it's something to think about. Here's where we end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And we'll see you next time.